Hey, welcome back. This is Carlos Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com. Today we're going to talk about how to make a guy chase you, right? That's the objective here. At least it should be. I'm going to give you 5 tricks and tips to get it done. Oh, without playing any games. So back when you first started dating him, you wanted to make him chase you. In fact, that's the natural goal in any relationship. To be fair, there's a little of each person that should be chasing, but it's most important for the guy to be chasing the girl first. I know, I can hear you. Why? I mean, Carlos, we're in the land of equality and female empowerment here. We should just be able to stop doing all these primitive mating rituals and act like we're one giant genderless society, right? Okay, excuse my sarcasm, but hopefully you smell what I was cooking up with that. The reality is that attraction is not logical. And if I may be so brave, attraction don't get to come up with an inventory, then interview a bunch of people, and then pick one out and say, hey, you know what, you're a good match. I'll meet you for drinks on Friday and we'll get attracted to each other. It sounds silly. And influence a man's attraction for you. In fact, you can downright guide him into falling in love with you if that's what you really want. We'll get back to that in just a bit. But if there's anything I can teach you today, it's this. I used to have this female friend that used to say, I'll get him to chase me until I catch him. That is an awesome way to look at the process of dating guys. You should make it your personal mantra because that's gold. Now, right now, I'm going to give you a few tricks to show you how to get him to chase you. Tip number 1 is stop chasing him. Now, I know this should be obvious by now, but I need to say it. If you want a guy to start chasing you, you've got to stop chasing him. Think about it. Do you ever see a chase-chase dynamic anywhere in nature or reality? The Roadrunner never chased Wile E. Coyote. Bugs Bunny never chased Elmer Fudd. You could use a ton of other Warner Brother cartoon examples there. There's a dynamic that's created by nature, and it's chase and be chased. You can let that flip and flop back and forth a little bit, but the overwhelming majority of chasing is the man's responsibility. So if you're chasing him right now, you're breaking that dynamic. Chasing sends a message. It says, I'm chasing you because I find you attractive and valuable, and you have the value that I want to have in my life. It's a pretty simple message. And I get it. It's tough to not start chasing a guy. The very first time a man pulls away from you, your first impulse is to panic and grab on and pull him back to you. Oh no, I'm losing him, is what your insecurity is screaming in your head. But the women who succeed with guys and really understand men know that they can't let themselves fall victim to that panic impulse. If you lack this kind of emotional self-control, the first thing you have to do is find a girlfriend that can help talk you down from the ledge when that sort of thing happens. All right, tip number 2 is give him competition. I know, you're saying, Carlos, I don't want to play games. Well, guess what? It's too late the ones that aren't winning them, all right? Or maybe you're using it to achieve a selfish end. Remember, as the woman, you're the steward of the relationship. It's up to you to take the leadership role in making your relationship or marriage or whatever it is, whatever you want it to be. The guy will follow you if you handle it the right way. So believe me when I tell you that it's imperative that your man not think he's got you all locked up. You need to leave a little bit of doubt and uncertainty in his head. In fact, about guys, you need to know, we need competition to help us push ourselves to least in his head during competition are the same ones that lock him into obsessing over you. Dopamine, serotonin, adrenaline, these are just some of the love hormones that make a man want you. And so in short, stop trying to not be single, okay? When you're trying to not be single, it's killing your game, okay? Men want a woman that's not chasing commitment like a cat chases a laser pointer. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. How to get a man to chase you. If you want a guy to fall for you and start chasing you, you've got to start his physical desire for you. Men don't fall in love intellectually. We fall in love physically first, followed by emotionally, followed by logically. Women, on the other hand, are emotional first, then physical, then logical. Now here's just a few ways you can inspire his desire for you. First of all, wear a killer set of heels. I know this one sounds like it was ripped right out of Cosmopolitan, but let's face it, heels make your legs look great, and guys love legs. What more needs to be said? Find your asset and use it. Every woman has a strong point in her physical attractiveness. It could be her lips, her hips, her butt, her bust. Whatever yours is, use it and work it. Give him the tease touch. Make it a point to touch a guy in certain non-sexual areas of his body. The best ones that I can tell you are the back of the neck, the forearms, and the sides of his hips. Just give him a gentle touch there very, very quickly, and pull your hand back and watch the response in him. How to get a man to chase you. Tip number 4 is raise your standards. Raise your standards instead of lowering them. It's perfectly natural to get into what would hopefully be a good situation for you and any children you have to astray. There's a saying in the business world that I want you to remember. Hire slow, fire fast. You need to know as much as you can about this guy before you take him in and make that big hiring decision, if you know what I mean. I can't tell you how many women write in to tell me that they're in love with a guy. They want him so badly, even though she knows he's not right for her. You've got to be the one to put the brakes on and make sure he is the right one up front before you get emotionally involved. Don't be so quick to hire a guy for the most important position in your life. Because if you choose poorly, you're just going to find yourself at an attorney's office a few years down the road wondering how the hell it came to this. You can create a magical romance, but it needs to be with a man who designed his head. The secret to getting a man to fall for you and to chase you is to know how to move to women, mostly because you just don't think the exact same way we do. So I want you to suspend your chick logic and realize that men have their own weird form of guy logic. And no, it's not really logical at all, which is why you're probably confused about what men really want. The secret is in how you get him to obsess over you. Look, you may have noticed one bit of cliche advice that I did not tell you throughout this whole piece, and that is, have an exciting, high-quality life that every man wants to be a part of. You've probably heard that quite a bit, right? Well, duh, of course you should have an interesting life, but the reality is that if you don't already have that fun, exciting life right now, my telling you about it in this video is not going to make you change your life completely around right this second. I will mention nicely that you shouldn't ignore that advice, though. If you're living your life just to find a relationship or the next relationship, you're going to find yourself chasing your tail quite a bit. As much as I love that movie Jerry Maguire, the part about you complete me, that's dysfunctional crap. If you're not already complete, go and stay silent in the background. You're going to hear about it from that voice in the back of your head. Now, there's ways to get a man to see you as his favorite obsession. The key is to flip the obsession switch in his head. This is something that your mom, your girlfriends, those magazines at the grocery store check out, they don't know about this. In fact, I'll bet that 95% of the women, and even the men in your life, don't know about this. Well, I created a very special report for you. I want you to go read about it at datingadviceguru.com/obsession letter. That's datingadviceguru.com/obsession letter. One word. Go on over there. I want you, of course, what do you got to do? You got to subscribe, answer questions you have below. I'd love to hear from you, and I want to know what you want to know about how to open a man's heart. I'll talk to you again soon. This is Carlos Cavallo from Dating Advice Guru. Live